a few years back now, but I was sitting in those chairs the first 8 years I coached. I coached high school baseball in Pinellas County. And hopefully I can give you a couple things you guys can take back to your program, your pitchers, a pitcher, that will help them. So I'm going to kind of share some of the stuff that we do, some of our core beliefs, and then kind of build off that. So developing today's pitcher. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this a while. I mean, I've had a player drafted by the Montreal Expos. Okay, I've been doing this a while, so tells you how long I've been in the game. So the kids we get today are a little different than the kids I got when I started. Is the fact that how they learn, all right, how their attention span is. The one thing I always remind my kids when we start, there is no pitcher tender. You can't swipe left or right and get a curveball. I mean, it takes a little time. It takes a little time and it takes a process. Today we're going to cover a couple of things: arm strength, mechanics, pitchability, intangibles, and the mental side. Okay, all components of developing the pitcher to be well-rounded. All right, arm strength, talk about that first. And a couple things a couple caveats I want to hit on before we start is, again, most of the guys, majority of my guys on the staff I have are only doing one thing. They're pitchers only, okay? You guys still have a lot of scenarios where you're dealing with guys that are playing two positions. All right, they're pitching and they're a position player also. So again, every bullet counts, okay? Every bullet counts. So what we try to do on our side is I know I've probably got, between all their drills, 6 days a week, maybe 280 throws, 300 throws, somewhere in there. So I'm kind of keeping track of them each day. So I'm trying to make everything I do get the most out of those throws. Get the most out, trying to squeeze every ounce, just like I know you guys try to do. And I commend you, because I remember those challenging kids that you had that were really good two-way players, especially the guys that play in the middle of the field in the infield, right? They're making those throws from shortstop, or they're a catcher even, and then they're trying to pitch you. They're one of your better arms on your staff. Those are challenging guys. So again, trying to make every bullet count. The other thing I want to tell you guys as we kind of go through our core beliefs, when you come into FGCU, one of the things we try to do is we start what we call an IPP. We have things we believe in that kind of is a concept everybody gets, but our IPP is what we call our individual pitching plan. All right, every kid's a little different. Lefty, righty, arm angles, things they're trying to develop. Okay, some guys are developing another pitch because we get them from a junior college. Some guys need to develop arm strength, all right, because they're younger, coming out of a high school program. So every kid, we start when day one, and we start putting this plan together, and we build on the plan. And over the time at FGCU, some things get added, some get taken away. But again, like I said, I'm going to try and share a lot of the core beliefs we have and go from there. Arm strength. Number one thing I've seen over the years, okay, besides the weight room, the kids get physically stronger, to build arm strength is long toss. All right, long toss. The thing is, where does it fit into your program? How often do you do it? How far do you go back? Where do you see the correlation between the amount of time, the distance we're doing it, and then actually the velo ticking up? Again, I think there's got to be a spot. If you can get it prior to, like, share what we do at our program, is when our kids are coming into the summer, as they get closer, they'll start their long toss program, and they'll be at a certain distance when they come in, 3 times a week. All right, 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They'll be at a certain distance. You can see this is like, I think I got week 3 up there, if you can see it. Maybe it's up there somewhere. Anyway, so when they come in, and then from that point, we'll build on that probably another 4 to 5 weeks before we get into our team portion. I know that's not a little unrealistic for you guys, but if you can even find that window of 4 weeks, right, from the summer into the fall before they get into their fall ball, and then again over the Christmas break into your season, if you can find that 4 to 5 weeks, I think it correlates. You will see some development in their arm strength. Again, like I said, we do it 3 times a week, and again, we have a guide, a distance we go with. we go back about 15 feet every week. All right, about 15 feet every week. I said every 2 weeks. 1 week we'll go back for distance, and then we'll build on that from that distance. So it's every 2 weeks we're going back another 15. And usually, like I said, we top out at 300, and wherever they go past 300, all right, is kind of up to them. Again, I say a guide because, again, the kid only knows how the arm feels that day. So I tell them that on this particular day, if we're going to 265, if you only feel 240 and that's what your arm's got, go 240. All right, this isn't like the end-all, be-all. All right, it's just their guide. Okay, you're going to have guys that go that throw longer, guys that don't. But again, it's trying to keep them so they're working their way back over time. All right. I'm going to jump forward just to kind of share something with you, and we're going to jump back to the screen in a second. So jumping forward, so what we do, and this is an older one from a few years back, because I'm going to share on one of our alumni as I go through this presentation, Cutter Crawford. But this is what our long toss program, our velocity, looks like in the fall. What I'll do is I'll kind of take a measurement, starting when they get there, of what their velo is in their first pin, and I'll take that distance measurement around the same week. All right? And so what I've found, just with anything, most kids, if you put something measurable out there, it motivates them. All right? So if they start to see their velo increase as their distance they can throw a baseball, they seem to stay with that program and buy into it. All right? You can kind of see most guys are going to correlate as their distance continues to increase. Their velos went up each month as we took another measurement. The number I see, the correlation again, some guys, this is not the end-all be-all, but I see a huge correlation over the years with a lot of our guys. That 300 distance, a kid that can throw the ball 300 feet, it's usually a 90-mile-an-hour arm. That's just kind of where the correlation is. Like I said, I've seen guys that can't throw that far throw 90, and I've seen guys that throw it farther and can't throw 90. But the majority of the time, that is where I see that correlation is. And again, it's just I build this out. The only thing I've added in, this is like I said, this is I think 2000, this is a few years back. The only thing I've added in now more is with the Rapsodo and the availability of spin rates. I look at their four-seam spin rates and I'll measure it also with this. And again, I see correlations with the distance and the velo and the spin rates. And obviously the four-seam the spin plays up a little more. Sometimes it'll give you some better back half life on that fastball. I'm going to jump back here to bullpens. All right, bullpens. We try to make our bullpens as game-like as possible, all right? During a week, when we start getting into preparation for whether it be an inter-squad or we start our season, it's the closest thing they're going to have to the intensity level of the game. The guy goes through a bullpen and throws it at like 60%, timing, everything else is just not going to be there. So when we try to get our guys in their bullpen, again, they're not long sets. They're probably, I think our guys that, our starters might throw a 30 to 35 pitch bullpen the Tuesday before Friday start, our Friday night guy. So again, they're not long. They're 2 sets to get them up and down, but we try to make it as game-like as possible. So in other words, we put the radar gun on them. If they're a guy that sits, say he's 91 to 93, we like to throw his bullpen like an 88, 89, okay? So that way his body's moving very similar to what it's going to move on Friday night. That way his intensity level gets up. All right, important that he gets up and down. That's why we build it into 2 sets. So he sits down, mimics like an inning in between, and then get back up and throw another set. The other part of building the game, like whatever you want them to do in the game, you gotta work on it. You gotta work on it outside the game. So in other words, like the bullpen, when I build it out, I might build the first set where they can make some adjustments. So I'll put some pitches together. Like if I'm working their 4-seam around the zone, those 4-seams might all be together in set 1. 2 seams might be together, the changeup, the breaking ball, and then in set 2 they'll get more where we're doing more sequencing. Okay, where we're doing more sequencing, we're working left-handed hitter, right-handed hitter. But again, anything you want, like I said, like I always in my bullpens, I work on burying a breaking ball, I work on missing fastball off the plate. There's always a pitch out at one of the ends of the sets. Anything you're going to call in a game, if you expect it to happen right in the game, you better practice it, or you're just rolling the dice. in my opinion. So that's what I try to build in. And again, the bullpens change with them, try to keep it depending on who we're playing that week, what the kids' matchup looks like. We got sometimes we're facing lineup with a ton of left-handed hitters, so we'll do a lot of pitch sequencing based off what he's going to see. He might throw some more, if he's a right-hander, he might throw some more change-ups that week than he normally does.
So you guys calling it in the bullpen, they're expecting that you guys call pitches at the game?
Yes.
You guys call
We call our game, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we call our game, yeah. Yeah, so we'll sequence out the bullpen, and the catcher will, we'll call it from the catcher.
So
catcher
you're saying, so it'll be that relay, like, you know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah, it'll simulate just like the game. The catcher will give him, yeah, and we'll call it in. All right. Mechanics again. First thing with mechanics, timing. What I see is that's kind of like your first domino of your delivery, all right? If your timing is off, if it's late, it doesn't mean, and I tell my kids this all the time, it doesn't mean you can't throw strikes. It just means the consistency of trying to throw strikes becomes a little more challenging. All right, when I find guys that have trouble with their timings, okay, the body's going to usually adjust. You get these guys that fly open, the head moves, everything else to try to get the ball out in front to make up for being late getting out of the glove. So that's a lot of places where we start with our kids when we kind of go back to when the ball's coming out of the glove, when they're struggling sometimes with either command in general or command with a pitch. A couple things, we try to take the ball out of the glove and put it outside. A trick I kind of picked up over here, it's funny, COVID, you end up sitting around watching a lot of videos of different things. And I was watching Walter Buehler talk about how his mechanics changed from his time at Vanderbilt to when he got to the Dodgers. And he said it helped him with his timing. And I'm always trying to help kids with their timing. The one thing, he went back, the Dodgers changed him back. He was a guy when he rocked, he just kind of, everything stayed right here. And then he would ride sometimes down the mound and not get the ball out on time. He went to an over-the-head windup. And he said whatever it did for him, he said it kind of like a body trick, because the hands went up, and when the knees came and the hands came together, they broke apart at the same time, kind of what we want. And again, I've used that since then, and some kids, it does. It puts the light bulb off. I had a couple guys, our Friday night guy came in, and he was a body guy. We tried that. He was having some timing issues, and he stayed with his whole career. He's still our Friday night guy. But so some kids stayed with it. Some kids use it early just to kind of feel their timing out. And some kids, like I said, it's like that, like I talked about earlier, individual pitching plan. Some kids, we put it in, it doesn't help them, we take it out, But that was another trick that I've had a decent amount of success of with kids getting their timing down. But like I said, that's the first domino. If that falls, usually you're starting to deal with a lot of other things that we're going to kind of go down the list here. Hip shoulder separation, backside and front side. You can see cutter up here. As we go down, we got to get the ball out. You can see the hip shoulder separation. You can see those front hips starting to turn and open, and you can still see Boston across this jersey. All right, you still see the shoulders staying square and staying back. So we're getting good hip shoulder separation in there. And again, this is something our guys talk about all the time, or work on all the time, where we try to make sure we're letting our shoulders stay back. We're letting our back hip open our front hip, all right? Our hips go first and then our shoulders go. We'll do a lot of just simple drill work where all they'll do is that. Get the ball out, get downhill, all right? Get downhill and feel their hips and shoulder, their separation right there. Again, backside, front side. Kind of, I see these go together because one affects the other. One thing I always remind our guys is your front side and your back side, okay? Your front side. These things are going to work together, okay? Whatever one does, the other's going to do. So as we're going down the mound, if this arm kicks out, the leg's going to probably follow. If the leg swings out, the arm's going to follow. Okay, how's the front side affect our back side? Because these work opposite. So when this goes this way, that goes that way. And again, it makes for a longer arm swing, harder to get back in timing. So that's, again, couple things that we try to make sure they understand exactly what their body's doing. I tell one of the things we talk about is talking about thinking about you're trying to pitch down a hallway, right? We're trying to stay linear. We don't want to go outside that hallway. All right, we want to make sure we're trying to stay linear. And again, if the front side starts to go one way, the back side's going to go opposite, and then we come back to the timing issue, all right, where everything, our head starts to move. We don't get hip shoulder separation because everything flies open to try to get the ball out in front. Okay? A couple things that, again, we'll do to keep things linear. A couple front side drills. Front side, you can always put the weighted ball in the glove. Okay? That always helps. That always helps. Keeps the body. Anytime we pick up something heavier, we try to keep it closer to the body. I found by putting an 8-ounce ball in the glove, just holding it, they'll do a lot better job. They don't want to, they'll get tired of doing this. Again, drill work with them. They'll get tired of doing that. Also, we do a 2-ball drill. We're getting an 8-ounce ball and like a 3-ounce ball. They can do this. Some of our guys that have trouble with that front side, keeping that thumb down and ball out, they'll throw the heavy ball into a mat, probably about 6 feet away, real close, almost like the pitch, right, with the quarterback back in the option days. And then they'll throw the light ball behind it, and they should hit right about the same, one after the other. It should sound pop, pop. Just again, some things to clean that up. And that's kind of leading into what the last thing here is our non-throwing drills. Our non-throwing drills. All right, again, we talk about the things and how many throws they got, but there's a lot of things we do because they can't throw all the time. So we call these non-throwing drills, and I'll kind of give you, I'm going to come back to the one in between. This is what kind of a non-throwing workout day will look out for them. So besides our throwing stuff, there might be a couple things sprinkled in here. We're going to do some throws. But most of this stuff is non-throwing stuff they're going to do. All right? The key to that, because over the course, for my guys, over the course of a week, okay? And some of it might, I'll try to explain some of this stuff, but over the course of the week, they're going to do more of this than they are going to throw. Okay? They're going to do more of this than they are going to throw. So as your guys are doing their drill works, it's important that they coincide with how they throw. All right? In other words, if they're doing anything that, if they're doing anything that involves their stride has to be the same as their throwing. All right? If you've got a 6-foot stride and you're doing all these drill works, all right? Say I do 280 throws